I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Tim Reddish all the way from Canada to our online broadcast this week. And I've got this beautiful hardbound book in my hand, Partnering with God. Now, you're an editor of this particular book, so you're working in collaboration with others. But this book is filled with stories, isn't it? So tell us a little bit, Tim, about this brand new publication.
Well, I've been in contact with one of the editors of that book in the past, Thomas J. Ord, who's a philosophical theologian. And I sent him an email and said, I've been thinking of a book idea on partnering with God. With a title like that, it really should be a partnership with people. In other words, a collection of essays, so that we can get a diverse perspective of what partnering with God means to various people. That seems to be the ethos of the book.
And there's like 77 individual stories in this book, and remarkable in the breadth that they cover. What did you first think when you started to read through all these different stories?
What was powerful was to pull the stories together and give voice to them. If you're an academic and you publish papers, you already have a voice. But for those who haven't got a voice, this was a way to help communicate some stories that I think will enrich the lives of the church.
Number 51 of these stories on page 249 tells the story of St. James and Emmanuel. So
indeed,
thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to share our particular journey, our partnering and partnership with God. So that was a huge privilege for us.
That was a very powerful story, Nick. And one of the things about this new book is that various essays are being posted on Facebook every week. And your essay was one that was launched along with two others on the first week. And the number of people have been giving their likes, and they're saying, wow, this is a story. And so, your story in Didsbury is now being, shared across the world, across America, across Canada. My theology professor at Knox College liked this story. And so, you just don't know what lives can be touched, not just by your story, but by all the other stories that are there.
And the really interesting part about that in joining the circle is that by producing this book, Tim, you're partnering with God.
Yes. and in a sense, that was a big bonus and a journey in that respect. One of the things that I was struck by this is, if you've been a Christian for a long time, you can often be under a sense of doing things for God.
Yeah.
You have that sort of element perhaps of duty or of responsibility. And if you change that for God to with God, it really does change that dynamic. It makes it more alive.
There's a qualitative difference, isn't there, between working for God and working with God? I mean, although the story that we shared in your book is one of tragedy, there was also a sense in which what came out of that tragedy was a bit like surfing a wave as a consequence of what had happened. Whereas when you're doing something for God, it's almost like paddling upstream. There's the surfing, where the power's behind you, and then there's a sort of striving where you're trying to make your way up something going against you, and it has a different feel. And I think my experience is that as you grow as a Christian, you can learn to tell the difference.
That word striving is something that would resonate with many Christians or people who've been raised in traditional church backgrounds. And so this is a kind of liberating way to look at it. One of my, this probably will date me as well, but one of my favorite British comic writers is Adrian Plass. And I've always had a good chuckle with what he's had to say. But I do remember one of the bits of advice that he was given when he was younger. and that is nothing is wasted.
Yeah.
And so, when we think of that striving, and then you also think that nothing is wasted, the suffering and the hardships, the things that we really don't want to experience, and we certainly don't want to wish on even our worst enemies.
Yeah.
They can be transformative into something good, even though we can't see that. But if we are partnering with God, then we know that God is journeying with us in that process, and we may be surprised along the way.
Tim, that's absolutely fantastic. So here's the book, Partnering with God, and it is available on Amazon,
yes,
amongst other retailers. Well, listen, thanks, Tim. All the best to you.
Thank you very much, Nick.